I'm Dan Lobby. This is our preview of the Sugar Bowl between Ohio State and Alabama on New Year's night. Bill Landis of cleveland.com, Michael Casagrande of al.com are joining us to give us tidbits about each team. Today, the secret stat you should know. Bill, you go first, then Michael.
Dan, for my secret stat, it's maybe not so much of a secret because it is a number that Ohio State likes to throw out there from time to time, but it has to do with receiver Devin Smith, a guy we've talked about quite a bit since the Big Ten championship game with the game that he had against Wisconsin. He had 3 long touchdown catches from Cardale Jones, and that's really been the MO for his entire career, has been that deep ball threat. He's probably the fastest guy on the team, if not one of the fastest guys on the team. And when he catches a touchdown pass in his career, 4 years as Ohio State's deep ball threat, when he catches a touchdown pass, Ohio State is 21-0. The Buckeyes haven't lost when Devin Smith catches a touchdown pass. And I think maybe that can be coincidence up to a certain point, but when you're talking about 21-0, I think it stops becoming coincidence and it starts being a sign that when Ohio State's moving the ball well and is doing what it wants to do on offense, Devin Smith is involved, Devin Smith is scoring, and Ohio State is winning football games. And now Smith finds himself kind of in a perfect position with Cardale Jones at quarterback. Jones, not quite the most polished passer, but he does throw the deep ball very well. And what Devin Smith does best is track down those deep balls, score touchdowns, get by his defender with speed. And when he does that throughout his career, Ohio State hasn't lost yet. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to win if Devin Smith scores, but I think that's a stat worth monitoring as Ohio State goes into the Sugar Bowl against an Alabama defense that has given up some long balls this season.
Well, for Alabama, I guess there aren't too many stats that fans don't know. It's such a dissected, well-read fan base, but I picked out a few that are some interesting ones of note. When you look at Alabama, I guess the Amari Cooper is the guy that everyone talks about, and for good reason. He has 45% of Alabama's passing yards, 1,656 yards. So that's quite a bit. But then you look at the running game. Sometimes that was even before the season. That was what everyone was talking about with T.J. Yeldon and Derrick Henry. And those two could go over 1,000 yards for the season with the big game against Ohio State. I think Yeldon needs less than 100 yards to get there, and Henry is about 105 yards away. So that would be significant considering what Mark Cooper is also able to do with his big season. First halves have always been big for Alabama this year. They've outscored opponents 295 to 109 in the first halves. Not quite the same in the second half. It's a little bit tighter, a lot tighter. The fourth quarter has been pretty close. But when you look at the defense, some of the other numbers interesting. In the red zone, opponents have only scored touchdowns on 38% of their drives. I think it's 85% overall success rate, but only 38% or touchdowns. And the other, probably the major stat that everyone likes to talk about with the rush defense, they've only allowed 3 rushing touchdowns all season. So those are some impressive numbers when you look at Alabama to kind of give a bigger picture idea of what to expect in the Sugar Bowl.